If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. And that simple statement is the key to science. It doesn't make a difference how beautiful your guess is. It doesn't make a difference how smart you are who made the guess or what his name is. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong.
Yeah, look, they said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, you know I've been on a mission. Go. Okay, let's get it. Got a little time on my hands like a wristwatch. I don't got time for the brakes and the pit stop. Race through the gridlock, take it like Chris Rock. Right to the chin, still win. Heavy metals like Slipknot. Got the driving, I got tunnel vision. I just hit my stride the way I run the business. I've been making paper like I'm Dunder Mifflin. See the end game, I got one division. Look, I don't ever bother with a critic. Hit him with a chronicle of Riddick. Boom, bottle full of Ritalin. I hit him with a little bit of riddle me this, riddle me that. My bad, fell asleep at the gas. No time to wait though. Elon Musk, I'm trying to bankroll. New Tesla just cause I say so. Electric whip like Ivan Van Gogh. I just did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, you know I've been on a mission. Okay, let's get it.
I've been on a mission like totally spice. I'm a baddie, she bad, but she totally nice. Nails are blue and her toes feel like white. They completely match out at the soul for my leg. He knew it for sure, but he left with a...
What is up, party? All right, so we're gonna get things started. Just want to say what's up to Lodi. How you doing, sir? It's been forever. Good to see you there. All right, so there's a few things we're gonna cover today. Not gonna get into it right away. Just guessing until we get in here. A lot of interesting conversations. Trying to make sure everything's set up and good, running. Yeah, doing real good, man. Real good. Out of place. Finally got back online. Live streaming, all that good stuff. Life is. Just want to make sure everything's running. For everyone that was on the last live stream when I was lagging out a lot, or throttling as it was. Actually went looking for processor thermogel stuff. Couldn't find it. So I ordered it, so it'll be here soon. Live stream go. I did turn my computer off, so far so good. It's actually running a lot better. We will get all that stuff taken care of so we have less. I will be doing the panel from Discord again. I'm probably going to do a lot more. Unless it's like a presentation or something like that, and then I may just have Google Meets up again for that. But for now, it's going to be. So if you want to be on the panel, you want to listen from Discord or anything, I am in the bunker. The link is in the chat. Be able to get you guys verified as soon as I can. That way, okay, so back to what I was going to say. I wanted to talk about technology, obviously, as the title. Yesterday I had a pretty interesting conversation with people. Topic being advanced technology. For most of you guys that have heard me talk about these things quite a bit by past, one thing that I acknowledge is I fully believe that our technology is. Let me start over. When I say our technology, I mean the technology that we use every day, our computers, our cars, etc., etc., etc. All these things. I personally believe that when it comes to advancing technology, there is absolutely a whole sector of technology that is it's so far advanced from us, in the sense that we can't get it, we can't use it yet or at all. And this is also, to me, backed by a lot of evidence, whether it be AI robots to just advanced technology that the military would be using, primarily. From the research I've done from it, what you normally will find, look up these are patents for one, and then you'll start looking at the applied. What would be it would be applied to basically. All right, sorry, I'm trying to move something in front of me. So still okay, so my bad. Now we're good to go. So if you look up patents, you look up what's being used currently. A lot of that stuff that's being shown to us on the internet when we do our research is going to be what they want us to see. I did a lot of uh, live streams on this advanced technology thing, and I think it was about 4 years ago. If you look back, I know there's a tank on live stream thumbnail, but what I was talking about at that time was thermal imaging, radar cloaking, I guess you would call it. Um, it's like thermal cloaking, and what that would entail is when you're using thermal imaging to see things, right? Nice little images of like a person in a bush, you see the heat signature. Well, for defense of that, what a lot of militaries use, primarily this one I think was Britain, I think uses. Basically, what the imaging does is you can make yourself in thermal imaging look different. Um, for example, if I'm in a tank and I'm looking through my radar, my thermal imaging, because it's nighttime, and I see an object in the distance, and I think it's a tank or whatever, something else. When I look at it, I may be seeing car, cow, right? And what it is the object that is using this defense has plates on the side of the tank. Let me see if I can find it real. That'd be so much easier for everybody. But share my screen right now. See the paths that I take. Already started. I want to do thermal imaging. So like I was saying, like things like this, when when an enemy or anybody in the military is using thermal imaging, this is kind of like what they're going to see, right? When they look through their little detector. So if we're using it and we're looking in the distance and a helicopter's flying over, we're going to see its heat. Now, I want to back what up. Trying to find that tank that I had. I have it in my pictures, but again, these are just more of the imaging that what you would see using the thermal imaging out. Oh, there it is. So what a lot of the tanks and a lot of the equipment used now is something like this. These little panels, obviously connected to a defense system. So what it is says BAE systems, hexagonal pixelated thermal IR defense. So what this does, this is actually the tank that I have in the thumbnail. If you're interested. This what it does is it shows when you're looking at it through a thermal imaging, those plates will then give you an image. I want to show you exactly how this works. So okay. So what will happen is you'll see the imaging, and mind you, they have this on ships. They have this on our battleships. They have this on tanks, Hummers, you name it in the military. They're using this currently. Just trying to find something that will show you exactly what I mean. Copy. I want to find the specific thing I'm talking about when it comes to what the imaging will show you. Oh, perfect. Here we go. So this was actually, so when I did this and I knew exactly where the link, like I was saying, this was one of the tanks that I was actually looking at. This one is a British tank. So when it's looking through its imaging, what ends up happening is it will see. So here's the first one, right? On the one on the left is the tank. The one on the left is the tank or what you're imaging. And then because it has those panels on it, the hexagonal patterns, it's able to rearrange its thermal imaging so that when the enemy or whoever is looking at it, what they actually see in this example would be a car, right? So you see a car, you're not thinking enemy, you're not thinking tank, you're not thinking fire upon it. So it's a really good line of defense to an extent, because remember, if say you got out of that tank and it was bright enough outside and you look through binoculars, you're gonna see the tank. So it's only thermal imaging, but I think that's pretty badass. And I thought that was a perfect example of advanced technology. Mind you, that was 6, 7 years ago. So what they're using now is probably far more advanced, but it's at the time having that conversation with people when we were talking about cloaking and all that kind of stuff. No one wanted to listen to it. Everyone wanted to act like it was ridiculous, right? Because at that same live stream, we were talking about military soldiers cloaking and basically looking visible on the battlefield. Well, here's a good example. Because when I first started looking into this, it really didn't make sense. At first, it was like, okay, so they're invisible. They look into like, um, no, no, it's not actually. It's literally a play on science, physics, especially when you were talking soldiers cloaking. They're using it's like a mylar reflective type material that breaks up light. So basically, what happens is all the light that surrounds that material hits it, and the way it refracts, great word, refracts off that material back to the observer. It blends into the background. The light refracts, I think, back when it comes back, so you don't actually get to see the object that's there. It's not invisible, but it's again, it's using physics at its fine. So, like I said, you guys can go into the bunker. If you haven't gotten there yet, I will verify you and you get talk about not the next thing, but oh, so primarily when we were talking about this advanced technology, what ended up coming up was us talking about flying cars and where they're at in it. And what you would think is where we're at. I personally, again, like I said, I believe we're much further into it, or the understanding of what it actually is. So, we're primarily talking about whether or not, uh, or where they're at with flying cars right now. One of the articles I had been reading at the time was about a flying car called the Jetson A5. Because this one would be, I guess you consider the affordable one. I don't know if it's affordable. I don't know if it's, or if it's just one that's out and going right. Okay, so this is the Jetson one seater. So as far as I know, 2022 they delivered two of them. or 12 of them, I'm sorry, and are on pre-order for 2024. Now, the argument ended up starting off as what what is possible? Is it a scam, etc.? The whole conspiracy idea that every single thing is scam or lying. And that's so I backtrack a little bit. That's also why I like to do these things, because I do come from a very conspiratorial background, in the aspect of I will look into a lot of things. I will try to figure them out, and for what we know of it and what we think of it is very important to me. Research type conversations and discussions. Sorry, I got just making it so I can see. All right, so yeah, so I am ready, good to go. If you guys, like I said, if you guys want to join the panel, it's going to be Discord. The link's in the description. Um, I'll get you verified if you haven't been here yet. That's on my screen, so I'll be able to see that right away. But let me go back to what I was saying. Okay, so again, like I was saying, sorry, I'm gonna start over a little bit. Not start over, but regain what I was saying. Like I was saying, so when I'm looking at what is considered advanced technology, a lot comes into it. When we're talking AI, when we're talking military, when we're talking blacklisted projects, whether it be like DARPA or any other agency that does a lot of the technology aspects of military, you have to assume that they're really not going to give us all the information, right? We're talking DARPA, who is obviously a military advanced technology component. They're not going to give all their information out to the masses. If you say, hey, we're building a super laser that can go all the way around the world, get back to a target, destroy it, and then vaporize anything that around it. The last thing we want to do is have any country catching onto it, trying to re-engineer it, or start their own thing. So there's a whole aspect of a technology that's going to be under wraps, so to speak, right? It's not going to be out there for everyone to see all the time. One of the best examples that I know of it would be like the cloaking stuff, obviously, AI technology. What we see as AI, let me phrase that. What I see as AI isn't isn't robots taking over like iRobot. Not It's not going to be uh, this mass takeover like we see in movies and depicted in movies. It's gonna be making life a lot fucking easy. Now, with that being said, that doesn't mean that people aren't going to lose their jobs. Doesn't mean people aren't going to have to learn whole new skills to make any of it work or even understand it into implement it into our lives. Trying to get everything. So this is the DARPA DARPA's link. So would I like to try to figure these things out? this is a good starting point for me, mainly because, like I was saying a second ago, DARPA does publish the research and stuff that they're doing, but DARPA being an advanced technology agency, right? That's what they do, advance a lot of the technology that the military uses. They're not going to give out everything. So anything that I assume anything I read is definitely going to be, have something to do with public known, probably for public funding, private sector funding. Sorry, stuff like that. See what we can find here. There's nothing specific I'm looking for here. Kind of just guessing until we can get a panel going. Not or from it guys what I look through and what I see when I'm looking. So if anyone doesn't, if that rock that I always talk about, if you've been living under a rock, you don't know what DARPA is. DARPA is Defense Advanced Research Projects. Anything to do with the military and technology that they want better. They want hyper focused on a certain aspect of something. That's what DARPA does. And if you've never heard, my favorite part, if you've never heard this before, DARPA's like, companies have like mottos. Uh, DARPA's motto, and I shit you not, is "Do it DARPA hard." Uh, it's so weird. The reason for that is the projects DARPA does like to take on are projects that other companies think are deem undoable, um, deem too expensive, or too advanced for current. That's kind of like what they do. So if a prior the company was like, we want some cloaking devices and we want to be able to uh to look invisible, and a company went, I think we're like 5-10 years out, I don't think we're possibly ever going to be able to do that. DARPA steps in and is like, F that, we'll do it. Give us the contracts. And so they do a lot of that stuff. One of the things that I personally know about my son's mother, her stepfather, he worked for a company that for Department of Defense, and this was, wow, I'd say 12 years ago, 13 years ago. He was telling me about a biometric system that would be at the time it would be hung from like the dog tags or some type of way that it'd be on the body. And what it would do is it would basically take all vitals. One, the main important thing would be it would tell if a soldier is alive or not, right? If they had any vitals, then it would be able to tell if, blood pressure, all the nine of that. Same thing you would be able to find out in a doctor's office. And when that's done, it actually uplinks. I think we are back, but I'm not 100% sure until I check it. Or find out because I hear my voice on my. Bear with me. I do apologize. Yep. All right. So I don't know where I. Or actually, what ended up happening is nice rainy day here. So my power started flickering. I'm not sure if you guys saw that in my camera. Then thing just shut down. Went back up. Like I said, it's a brand new place, so I don't know. But yeah, we're good to go now. Looking around, making sure screens are still working. I do apologize again. Um, I will go ahead and repeat myself. If you are trying to join the panel, or you got talk about anything. And again, guys, this is an open panel. It doesn't have to be about. Um, It's over at the Discord. The link is in the description. It will get you guys verified and ready to go. All my screen back. And that, I hate when that happens. When you're talking about advanced technology and then your technology takes a crap, it's always fun. And I just want to say this. This is my conspiratorial thinking happening at the moment. I bullshit you not. Anybody that was there for the last time I talked about military stuff on here, basically the same thing happened. But that's just my conspiratorial going ape. Take it a grain of salt. Okay, so back to what I was saying. If I remember correctly, I was talking about DARPA. It's what it does for the DoD and its advanced technology. I was talking about um, I was talking about my son's mother, her stepfather, used to work for the DoD as a civilian contractor. Their job was to, at the time, he did many projects for him, but at the time, what it was for was biometric readings on soldiers. Um, I heard him talking about using what do you call it? Using dog tags for blood pressure, vitals, basically all the vitals. So basically, when a soldier would be shot during war, they'd be able to tell if there's a fatality. They'd be able to tell if they were wounded and how bad they're wounded. It would be basically uplinked to a network where generals, war planners, etc., would be watching it, um, and then they would be able to go from there. I know they had speculated on using dog tags, uh, wristwatch type situation, something that would be on the body. Um, I also know, and he didn't go into detail about it, but I do know they were also talking about like implant type situations. Just because the aspect of, if it's a dog tag, it gets ripped off, that soldier's vitals are going to be zero, right? It's not going to have a body to read. So I know those were a lot of the implications of what needed to be done on with it before it actually hit the battlefield. Again, that was like 12, 13 years ago, so I can only imagine what they're actually. Um, but I do remember it was a situation of it being a wartime thing, not a 24/7. But if they're dog tags, that's what's exactly what's going to happen. When I say I'm checking my chat, not the actual chat, I know it's the chat on the OS. Your little pop out, and you have to um, copy and paste to YouTube or to OBS. That changes stuff. I have to keeping up. The funds of tech. No. For everyone that just got here, thank you. Right now, I am trying to fix a few things and talk about DARPA and technology. Give me a half a second. All right, so like I was saying, All right, so back to what I was saying. So go through the DARPA stuff because stuff with that last one. So DARPA technology are go to programs. And yeah, if you didn't know, DARPA has like a podcast. They have a bunch of stuff that talk about the stuff they're doing. I would take that with a grain of salt. Guy looking AI Forward is DARPA's incentive to explore new directions for artificial intelligence research that will result in a trustworthy system for national security missions. AI Forward DARPA hosted 2 workshops in the summer of 2023, which participants brainstormed new directions for the field. Approximately 200 participants from across the commercial sector, academia, and government attended, generated ideas that informed DARPA's next phase of AI exploratory projects, known as AI Exploration Opportunities, AIE. AIE. AIEs are a key component to the agency's border AI investment strategy aimed at ensuring the United States maintains an advantage in its critical and rapidly increasing technology area. AI constitutes a series of unique funding opportunities, streamlined contracting funding mechanisms to advance a start date within 3 months of the opportunity announcement. Researchers then work to establish the feasibility of new AI concepts within 18 months of reward contract. Though this nimble approach to exploring new AI concepts, DARPA aims to outpace competing global AI science and technology discovery efforts. So, like I said, I mean, DARPA's main goal is not only to advance technology, but advance technology beyond what everybody else is doing. I think that's pretty well known. They shouldn't be a shock to anybody. Despite progress in the field, AI still requires significant investment in advance to develop technology that reliably operates. Indicates appropriately with or indicate or interacts appropriately with people and meets the most press national security and social 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 needs. Yes, exactly. That was for that. For 10-year lunar study, accelerating discovery. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find something that would be more advanced than we currently have on our tape. Advanced full range engine, decades long quest to develop and decades long quest to develop reusable aircraft that can reach hypersonic speeds, Mach 5, approximately 3,300 miles per hour and above. Engineers have grappled with two intertwined, seamless, interactable challenges. Top speed of a traditional jet turbine engine maxes out roughly about 2.5 or Mach 2.5, while hypersonic engines such as a scramjets cannot provide efficient thrust at speeds much below 3.5. This actually kind of goes into what I want to talk about next. The aspect, this thing about UFOs. I'm not sure if you guys really hear a lot about it. What you guys' thoughts on it? For me, I don't think they're little. I don't think that. I don't know what you guys think about the UFO aspect of this. I don't think they're UFO. I don't think they're um, aliens. I really don't. That's a very ridiculous idea of what we're dealing with. So, like I was saying, I don't personally think that what we see, what we define as UFOs, are are aliens. The reason why mainly would be if a species of aliens was capable of making it to Earth. I don't feel like just observing would be the only thing that happens. I think it would be more of a situation where it'd be either like a takeover or something ridiculous, something you see in like movies. Um, Even bigger than that, I think what we would see personally would be something like uh, we get more reports of unidentified things in our low space orbit. We would see more footage of these things. And when I say see more footage, I'm not talking that grainy crap that's always out there. I'm talking stuff that's actual viable, something that we can use as a detailed observation. And I'm sorry, I don't care what you say. It's 2024. That kind of footage should be out there if it's something like that. The reason I think it's mainly think it's advanced technology is because companies like DARPA, companies like Lockheed Martin, they openly talk about how they're trying to push the limits of our technology. And to push the limits of technology, you're going to be looking at things that can't be done, so to speak. So that's why I think advanced technology wise, we're easily military, DARPA, military, private sectors, probably around 10 years advanced to what we understand capable. And that goes along with the whole science sector as well. What's up, Riggs? How you doing, sir? Not sure if you no worries. This is the advanced full range engine. This is their goal for this. And like I said, this actually ties in because this would be the lower scale of what I'm talking about. Um, where right now they're trying to figure out a way to get a manned jet, fighter jet aircraft, to reach Mach speeds, Mach 5 to be exact. And if you don't know, that is it's possible. Is it possible as far as we know? But a lot of things weren't possible 5, 10 years ago. The F-22, the F-35, that's the one. F-35, its maneuverability, the capabilities like basically fly backwards and shit. Those things were wouldn't have thought those things were ever possible 30 years ago. We wouldn't have looked at it as that's gonna be happening. No, we don't look at it that way. That is one thing. Look, think about what talk about the topic. So let me go ahead and get into this. In decades-long quest to develop reusable aircraft that can reach hypersonic speed. Reusable. When they say that, that's understand we are fully capable of launching a rocket or missile, better yet, a missile, and reaching those speeds very easily. The issue becomes putting a person in it, having something that is maneuverable at those type of speeds. Mach 5. Engineers have grappled to help remove the constrictions and lay the framework for routine hypersonic flight with reusable vehicles. DARPA has launched an advanced full range engine program, AFRE. DARPA loves using abbreviations for seeks to develop and demonstrate a new aircraft propulsion system that could operate over a full range of speed required from required from low speed takeoff through hypersonic flight. AFRE aims to explore a turbine based combination cycle engine concept that would use a turbine engine for low speed operation in a dual mode ramjet, which would work efficiently whether the airflow through it is subsonic or supersonic. For high speed operations, the AFRE program will initially conduct system design, sub and large scale component development, and ground demonstrations will culminate with a large scale integrated test series to or a propulsion wind tunnel free jet test of integration low and high speed low path. That was in publication.
Oh, looks like, oh, there we go. It's working. What's going on, Sean G? I have my stream going. I figured I'd come join you.
What's up, Daryl? How you doing, sir? It's been a long time.
Yes, it
Yeah, I
has. How you
I
been?
have noticed. I did notice you were starting to live stream now. That's pretty cool. You just like bounce around, just keep streaming.
Yeah, well, actually left that last Discord server I was on, so I guess I can't say I'm bouncing around. I guess I could just say I'm just not going where I was before.
Yeah,
So maybe I'll come in here more often and I'll just start focusing on debunk videos and things like that more so than at least that Discord server. Just find that the flatter Discord servers are not so friendly to people who speak in like basic rationality and truth, if you know what I mean.
yeah. They, I think I know where you're talking about as well. It does get difficult because, especially because I know you, so and you know me. So when you think outside the box, original like already, and you understand that you have a different outlook on how to talk about things than say what we consider a normie, right? And then you get to these forums where there are other people that have a different mindset, and you start talking to them, and they talk to you like you have no clue what you're talking about. You realize real quick that there are paths to these things that are just unlogical, completely unlogical.
Definitely.
Yeah. So basically, I've been just basically talking about like advanced technology and what we're capable of and what we're capable of. Um, I was bringing up my opinion of UFOs. Um,
Okay.
personally,
I like that topic. Okay.
yep, yep. Personally, I don't think they're aliens. I think they're just advanced technology. I think it'd be like a China, America, Russia type situation, and what we see happening when we observe a UFO, I think would be more of a them testing or just being spotted during testing type situation. Um, Primarily in the United States, it'd probably be our military for the most part.
Yeah, I could agree. At least some of these sightings are that. I remember there was the incident with I believe it was the B-2 bomber, the big wing, and people were seeing that being tested and they thought that was a UFO. So yeah, I could
Yeah,
definitely agree that some of those are the case.
yeah. The fighter jet, the stealth fighter. When that first came out, when they were doing testing over Groom Lake, they got like 1,500. I want to say 1,000. I think 1,000 phone calls of reported UFO. It actually pushed for the U.S. military to actually publicly acknowledge that the stealth fighter existed, and that was based on reports, not just because they were like, "Oh well, it's time." It was just to the point where so many people had seen it that they were like, "Well, have to let the cat out of the bag now, baby."
Hmm. Yeah, I say that's definitely a valid uh uh observation. And Blue is in the channel, you know, Blue Marble Science.
Yep.
Hello to him.
Yes. What's up, sir?
Uh, I do know that, at least in my findings, I don't think that's the case for all of them. Like the first thing that comes to mind is the sighting that happened in Phoenix, Arizona. If you're into the topic, then I'm sure you heard of Phoenix, Arizona.
Yep.
And so I believe they tried to attribute it to flares, and that didn't follow the pattern. And I believe they tried to attribute it to helicopters because the thing was going so slow across the whole state. But it seems to me that that was a valid sighting of something that's not of this earth. But of course, I
And that
can't
was
present any evidence. I could just go by the accounts and stuff. Go ahead.
yeah, and that was the one that kind of just went over the city for like hours, wasn't it? It was like a
Over the
long
state.
time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the whole
over the
thing.
state for
I'm sorry.
hours. So it they knew it was there because it was nighttime, of course, and it actually you could see the shape of it blocking out the background of the star, so it was huge. And they also had these unusual lights underneath. That's why some people were attributing it to flares, but people came along and actually threw flares and was able to compare it. It clearly wasn't flares. And there was a situation where as the object traveled across around the state, it 911 calls were following in his wake. That's one of the ways that they were able to track the path because the 911 calls and there's some higher and lower places or that it went, and some people were able to see it closer than others and were able to describe it and things like that. So I saw a documentary on it, and I saw several videos that people took of it. I mean, it seems to me to be valid, but again, that's the best evidence I could present would be just videos people took and eyewitness testimony. So I'm not saying I have 100% proof. I'm just saying according to all that I was able to see about it, it seems like a valid one to me.
Yeah. See, the problem with I've seen I've seen the uploads that have come with it. I'm trying to find some. Um, the issue I had when I watched that is that you never get to see the outline of anything, like the actual outline, and whether or not it could be something military doesn't seem definitive. And
Okay.
that'd be, you know what I mean? So the how it happened is odd, right? I mean, for people who don't know, this thing was probably up and being cited for I think it was probably about what 3 4 hours. It was like
Oh
a
yeah, it was
long,
ours.
long time. Um, and at no point did it do anything like out of nowhere. Like it didn't just like zip off anywhere. It literally just sky as if it was just there. Um, now I would say you have to discount weather balloons, right? Um, because I don't think there's a weather balloon on Earth that big, as big as this. Um, whatever it was obviously blocking out the stars, like you were saying, as a whole, right? It
Mhm.
wasn't like little pieces
Right,
inside of it that you could see stars.
that's right.
So we know it was a large object. But that's as far as I feel like you can go in the idea of identifying.
Yeah, I could agree with that. As far as hard evidence we have, all we can simply say is what we observe. We can't uh, concretely say where it came from or what its origins are. I could agree with that.
Now, the other side of it is how ridiculous is it to think that we are the only one,
Mm.
right? Because the way I see it, the way
There's
I look
nothing
at
more powerful than you.
I had sound in my ear. um, if if space universe, better yet, is as big as we think it is, and we are here with what we have, that we acknowledge that we have, it is literally unlogical to think that there's nothing else. Like completely unlogical to think that's out here.
One of the most interesting parts of my stellar astronomy class was all of the different methods that they use to detect exoplanets. Like, for instance, we can look at a star and notice that the star dims at a periodic rate. Like there's a certain consistency where it is normal brightness, then it dims. There's a normal brightness, then it dims. And we have technology that can zoom in on that star and determine that there's a planet going in front of the star that's dimming the light from the star. Another thing we can do is we can notice the wobble of a star because we know that there's a red shift and a blue shift in light when things are moving forward towards and away from us. And we can look at a planet and notice that we look at a star and notice that it's wobbling back and forth such that a planet is orbiting it. That's just two of the methods. So we know there's so many planets out there, and that's only the ones we can detect. The ones that's large enough to dim the star enough where we can detect it easily enough, or the ones that are large enough to make the star wobble back and forth enough where we can get a good detection. And we have methods that's becoming even more accurate. So just with the stars, the planets that we find now that are big enough to meet our technological bias, there's so many planets out there. Um, so there's no telling how many civilizations could be out there. So yeah, I agree with that.
Now, when we're talking, excuse me. Sorry about that. When we're talking civilizations, when we're talking the search, one of the biggest things that I think is a hinder to us is like everything, we humanize things. So when we're looking at these planets, now mind you, so everyone knows, neither one of us, I assume, not you, we can't see. Like you would think, why don't they just zoom into these planets and we can see if they got like buildings and highway structures? There's no way. Like it is almost, as far as I know, impossible to get that close to one of these exoplanets or get
As
that
far as
kind
I
of
know as well.
visual.
Yeah.
Yeah, get the visual aspect of that. I think it's. Correct me if I'm wrong, Daryl, 'cause I don't know. Can we do that on the moon? Can that we have a telescope that we can zoom in and, for instance, the reflectors? I don't think we can even do
My
that.
understanding is my understanding is we can zoom in enough from the Earth to see the tracks on the moon. But the thing is, we also have a satellite going around it. But just as far as the zoom in, I think we can zoom in and see the tracks. But I see your point. The moon is right there, and we can't like zoom in and like see an actual footprint. And the moon is right there.
Yeah,
So I mean, yeah. So yeah, we nowhere near, to my understanding. You know, the thing about it is though, like they 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 have ways to do various things. Like one of the things that we discussed in one of my classes, some of the details I mixed up which class it was, but we are able to look at a distant planet and look at the spectra coming from the planet and make some deductions about what the atmosphere is made of, right? Similar to how we can do it with Jupiter and Venus and stuff before we sent probes and stuff there. So we do have some understanding of what the atmosphere of some planets must be like, but not enough to actually zoom in and say, okay, we see that there is a something that looks like the Great Wall of China there, so there must be some civilization there. For as I know, we're not there yet. And Big Blue says something. He says, imagine traveling through intergalactic only to decide Phoenix would be a great place to investigate. The poor aliens are certainly easily amused. Yeah. Out
yeah, and
of
that's
all the places, Phoenix.
exactly, and that's again like what really gets me when we think about sightings and things happen. There has to be a purpose, but more importantly, the places like I would understand if 99% of UFO sightings happened around like big bases. And I know a lot of them do. I know that. But that also just goes into what we were just saying a minute ago with it being, just advanced technology that we
On
just aren't
power.
privy to see. Yeah.
I got you.
So it's very weird to me that some people are willing to just jump on that 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 run of aliens are real. Or I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way. Aliens aren't real. When we have, and in the same token, these are the same people that believe the same things we do, right? They believe in exoplanets. They understand solar systems and stuff, but they still have that idea that it's possible for there to be something else. Then this very scary aspect of it is this: let's pretend they're they are absolutely aliens from somewhere besides Earth. If that's the case, we're fucked. That means their technology,
Also,
their understanding of everything is so far beyond us. We can't even imagine what they're capable of doing to us.
I disagree with that, and here's the reason. And tying that back to what you said earlier. Okay, so when we had the atom bomb, like there was the Oppenheimer movie that came out, we used that thing. We used that thing to end the war. So the first thing I would say is we can see how China treats their people. Like in university, I room with people from different countries, and I hear about other countries are, and China is not a place of freedom, right? So I don't, at least not to the extent that we think of freedom, right? I mean, it's not like they like have chains around their legs or anything, but I mean, the internet is controlled to a great degree, and they have to be worried about what they say. I remember there was a comedian who made jokes about China, and it didn't end too well for him. So I believe that if China, for instance, had some kind of technology that can do the things that we've seen UFOs doing, reported UFOs doing, just like how we utilized the atomic bomb, I think they would have used it. The second thing is, if there was some kind of uh, belligerent or hostile extraterrestrial race that can do the things they do, I think the same thing will in place. I don't see why they would sit hovering around for, like, how long ago did Phoenix happen? In 97, 96, 97, something like that, 2001,
97.
somewhere around that area.
Yeah.
So, I see, for instance, looking at it, because I think this is an example of how we sort of humanize what could be more advanced than us psychologically as well. Like when the settlers came to America, they didn't waste any time taking the land from the natives. They just took their land and put them on a reservation, and that was that. And we could see the same thing across all the different cultures of America. That a more advanced civilization finds a less advanced, and they waste no time enslaving them, taking their resources, and so on and so forth. So you know, I don't. I think if they were hostile, I think we would know already. So, especially given reports that we shot at them and shot some down. I was into this topic a lot, and I looked at a lot of reports from Army people and things of the things that we did towards these things. If they were hostile, I'm pretty sure we would know already. In a very bad way, we would know.
Yeah, but we're stupid. um, but
Well, no, no. What I mean is, when I say we will know, I mean we will know not because we're so smart. I mean we will know because they would have done to us what we did to the American Indians or Japan. We would know because they had to put some hurting on us to let us know. It's not that we would have figured it out. It's just like, oh, there's a hostile force that has 1,000 years of technology on us, and we shot at them. Well, now we
but
know what happens when you start a fight with a hostile force with, what I mean? Just like,
yeah,
I read the book On Bended Knee. I never forget there was this situation with the Native Americans where, okay, they was in the process of stealing these people's lands and everything, and they captured some of the Indians who were trying to fend them off. And what the soldiers did was they had like all the Indian soldiers like on their knees or whatever. This is one of the people who escaped that was telling the story, one of the Indians that escaped, and it was antagonizing the guy, antagonizing the guy, antagonizing the guy. And the moment he said one word in reproach to them, they shot him. They just shot him dead right there. So they kept antagonizing him, and the moment he said something, I guess that was the excuse to say they shot him. So imagine us shooting at these things or shooting them down like some of the soldiers have reported we've done. If that really happened and this was really a hostile force, they would have done to us, if we projecting onto them this hostility, they would have been hostile, but I don't think they would have waited that far, if they
but
were
on the
hostile.
other,
And they would given they are really an extraterrestrial force that's hostile, given
but
how we understand hostility to be with a stronger force, we would know because they'd have been hostile towards us.
the problem is, since we're humanizing it, the problem with that is this. In the same note, we go in the ocean, go into the middle of the nowhere wilderness, and we sit there and we observe things that we don't understand before stuff with it. Um, I get that we, at the same token, we shit violent shit to animals that we observe, so it does kind of fall in line with what you're saying. But at the same token, it could just be a situation where it really is just an observation.
Mm. Then I
Maybe
would say,
because
go
oh,
ahead.
I know that actually, that line of thinking where it's an observation only leads credence that what is the Anunnaki. Because if
Okay,
that
I
were the
heard those
case,
before.
they would just sit and watch their creation.
Mm. Interesting thought.
But at the same
Um,
time, but see, at the same time, I do think I kind of understand where you're coming from and agree with it. That if it was an alien race, why haven't they done more here? like you said, it doesn't really make sense that they would come here and just hover and just more importantly, and see, this is another reason I think it's advanced. It's not like we get these things, we see these things, and then we get a conflicting report from a space agency that can detect space debris. We're
Oh,
not. Why are?
and by the way, Sean G, somebody's asking in the live chat, is there a panel link? Do you have a link I can put in my live stream?
Yeah.
Like
Well, for if you want to just put the server invite in there, and I can get anyone verified and put in out in here, they can join.
server invite. Yeah, I don't know that.
Um,
Uh,
can you see the chat, the YouTube chat that
yes.
text that? Okay,
The
I'll put it in
YT
there.
stream chat, yes.
I'll put that. I'll put it in. Copy this link and you can send that to him.
Awesome.
Get in.
Sounds good. So I'll put this link in the live stream there, Brandon. So feel free to join. And sorry to interrupt your thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, no worries at all. Yeah, it's back to where I was. Okay. It's one of those things where I feel like there should be some type of conflicting. Because let me backtrack a second. We definitely have the technology to track space debris. I would think if it was an alien species coming here, we would get more observation reports and more debris. You know, the people that search, like that look for the debris, China, United States, a few others. You would think that they'd be able to just easily go, "Oh shit, got something," but those didn't come out in the report. Now, did they come out in the reports, or and we just not able to see them, or is it not happening? And that's where things really get fuckery, right? Um, we know for a
I
fact,
mean, go ahead.
because we know for a fact that because what was it, 2 3 years ago, the Pentagon came out with their UFO file stuff. So it's obviously something they're looking into. My problem is it just a deterrent?
Welcome,
Depending.
Brandon.
Hey, what's up, Brent? How you doing, sir? Welcome.
It's from the stream.
Nice. Because it's one of those things where it's like if the Pentagon's
Oh,
been
now.
yeah, if the Pentagon's doing research on UFOs, then the stuff they're going to give us about the UFO stuff is obviously going to be minimal.
All right.
Their acknowledgement of it to me is a red flag. If there are UFOs, alien species, and the military knows about it, I would expect more.
Oh, now. New user here.
Up,
I am going on some new panels.
yeah, no worries.
Welcome.
And you sound like a pretty decent user.
I didn't quite catch that last thing.
I just subscribed to your channel, Dairy Berry Jr.
Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And a lot of people say I have the best streams.
Oh, that's good to hear. So I plan on continuing to do more streams. I'll keep it going this time.
You gonna do like panels and stuff?
Yes.
You know what? I would like to do that again. Yeah. So yeah, I'll start having panels. Maybe I should schedule some. And hopefully you'll join, Sean G. I had a
Oh,
panel.
absolutely.
Do you have favorite Looney Tunes character?
I used to love Looney Tunes when I was coming up. I remember think they tried to update them or something, but I think the classics are always the best.
Do you have
I guess
favorite
that's
Looney
always
Tune
the key.
character?
Say again?
Do you have favorite Looney Tune character?
A favorite? Probably Bugs Bunny. That's the first one that comes to mind. What about you, Sean G?
I would say I like Wile E. Coyote.
Okay. Coyote is all right. That was the one with the Road Runner, right?
Yep, yep. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because he would constantly try to figure out new things, invent things. Oh, I thought it was just funniest thing.
And what
Tasmanian Devil.
Yep, that
and
was a really good
you
one.
can look at my channel.
Well, you can put your
What
link in the
kind of
chat.
stuff do you do, Brandon?
I do Bringing Waffles. I mainly serve old school cartoons on my streams. I let people hop on my panel to bring back their childhood memories.
Okay.
Cool. Like a hangout and
I
just
could
chill,
even
talk about cartoons.
serve some Bugs Bunny ones as well.
And what's going on, Earth is Life? Earth is Life just joined as well.
What's up, Bebo? How you doing, sir?
And I can
Yeah, I
also
just popped.
talk about Wile E. Coyote as well.
Awesome.
Cool.
Cool, cool.
Yeah, I
Again,
just
sir.
popped
Let
in
me
to
give y'all.
say.
Go ahead.
Just popped in to say what's up real quick. That's all. I got like 5 minutes.
Thanks,
Cool.
man.
Thought I'd say
Appreciate it.
what's up.
I just
Actually
had
I
a
want
little
No
to.
bit of
problem.
time as well. But I'll leave y'all with one thing before I go.
Yep.
This interesting story I want to tell you all about.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is a guy named David Adair. Look him up. David Adair. He's this genius inventor. He reminds me of Elon Musk actually, but I guess he just doesn't have a mind for business. He just invented stuff.
I did accept your friend request. Same with Sanji.
Let Daryl finish real quick.
Yeah. So, and I'll type his name on David Adair. So what happened is when he was just a teen, he would build rockets, and he was building more and more advanced rockets until eventually he built the rocket so fast that it was picked up on all these little defense apparatuses.
Yep.
And what he said was they actually took him to Area 51 to look at one of the engines they had from one of these craft. And that was his story. He said he was able to get out because his family was friends with an army general, and he had to come get him. They wasn't even going to let him out.
Well,
But I heard his story. He gave interviews years ago. But apparently, after that incident, the general told him, "Look, you need to stop making rockets," and he stopped making them until recently. Actually, that's how he came to mind again. Like a few years ago, he said he found the little separate place to make rockets again. But check him out.
Yeah,
He has a
actually
pretty good story.
I just pulled it up. It's David Adair. The Rocket Man finally
Yeah.
snapped.
Really?
I think
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna play the I'm gonna play the preview on YouTube.
Gene G. Wile E. Coyote's a favorite. That's my favorite along with the Roadrunner.
Yep.
That y'all had a bit of time. I want to hop on. Thanks for having me, Sean G. Nice talking to everybody. See y'all next time.
I'm doing
Absolutely.
All right.
I'm doing one at 5 o'clock today.
Hang on. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I want to play the David Adair. I'm gonna play it on YouTube. So Ryan, if you watch it, right for a second, see this actually look.
I just got done watching Cosmic Disclosure's new season with Emery Smith. And the first guest was David Adair. Now, for those of you that don't know who he is basically, I guess you would call a genius, a boy wonder. He developed at age 11, he built many rockets. At 17, he was invited into the sciences and the Air Force. At 19, he designed and fabricated a state-of-the-art mechanical system for changing jet turbine engines for the Navy. And the man's a genius. He's done an absolute lot of stuff. You can look him up. His biography's there. But it looks like he has snapped. And in the episode, he talks about his, I guess, first visit to Area 51, and he was taken underground, a big giant facility, and he had some sort of a mind melt with a an engine from an alien spacecraft, and it had a voice like Lauren Bacall, and it was called Prisline or some name like that. And I felt bad because here they are again, like they were doing with Clifford Stone. Put these old men on there that it's obvious they're nuts. But they sometimes a genius like that, they just they think and make stuff so much that just they crack. The body, the brain just can't think of anymore, and so it's just wandering into all of these escapades and dreams and stuff like that. And so I felt sorry for him, but he is an accomplished individual. He's done an awful lot for the aerospace industry, for the military, and he's a genius. But this episode, the preview that was for it just shows the preview for the whole season that's coming up for this year in 2020. And so, like I say, you want to watch it, that's fine. I'll put a link to the episode there. It's I think it's called Entering Area 51, something like that, in the description. I'll put the preview, but basically the preview is not the episode's preview. It's just the preview for the whole season, and I was kind of disappointed in that. Let's see here. Yeah, we're over time. So anyway, with that being said, we'll see you in the next clip. I've got the lunar clip coming up, so there's going to be some interesting anomalies there. And we'll see you, as I say, in the next clip.
That's that. Cool. I'm actually interested. I want to.
They pulled
Into this.
the big covers off this thing, and it was interesting. It's an engine about the size of a school bus, and this engine is pretty much a much larger version of the thing I built. It's also an electric magnetic fusion containment engine, but it is sophisticated and it is powerful. So when I laid my hands on it, this really interesting swirl pattern would come off wherever my skin was touching, and they would swirl out through the metal, going out through the alloy. And I didn't know of any metal that could do that. So I thought, wow, this thing is heat sensitive. It's picking up my body heat waves like that. And then I realized what this thing was. They grabbed hold of me, the Air Force guys did. We got back in the golf cart and we were riding back up to the surface. And I was sitting there thinking, I just realized what this engine is. It's a symbiotic engine. The engine is alive.
Dear community, welcome. I wanted to let you know that there's an upcoming podcast. David Adair is a former
Trying to find
Navy
different
SEAL and
stuff.
Air Force man.
Finding different stuff that applies to this. 'Cause I want to into this more. Here it is. Trying to figure out. As I was watching that, I was Google searching. Apparently, scientist project. This guy has a lot of stuff about area. I want to.
Who, that David Adair guy?
Yep. What's up, Lou?
Hey, Sean.
What were you saying about him?
Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah. Know about him?
I've heard the name, I just don't remember much.
Daryl kind of explained it. He's a rocket scientist. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Awesome. Are you watching the YouTube?
No, Daryl shut it down.
Okay. Share it. It's David Adair, rocket scientist, Area 50 S4 UFO. Yes, it's an.
After 25 years of silence, David Adair, now a space technology transfer consultant, has come forward with his amazing experience inside the military's top secret UFO facility.
I was 13 years old when I built my first rocket, and it left the backyard about 3,500 miles an hour. I was able to build it out of a construction machine shop that my father owned when he used to work for the mechanics and racing enterprises, and we had plenty of equipment and tools that allow such manufacturing to be done. As a matter of fact, our shop's very similar to a rocket shop in equipment and materials. The rockets kept getting primary engines we use today are solid propellant and liquid propellant. There are about 61 different rocket engines of propulsion systems that you could leave this planet with. Two of them are just a solid and liquid fuel. I happen to just pick one out of the other 61 engines to pick from. I manufactured a magnetic fusion containment engine, which in simple essence is able to create a magnetic field capable of holding a thermal fusion reaction inside, like a chunk of the sun contained in a magnetic bottle. And when you tap that power, it allows you to have tremendous thrust, which is what makes the rocket go forward. And so imagine being able to tap onto the power of the sun for an acceleration factor. So that's a pretty interesting engine design. So once the engine was and the rocket was completed, we obviously couldn't launch it where I was launching smaller rockets, which were out in cow fields in Ohio. So we had to go to White Sands, New Mexico, and that was arranged by the congressman and a consultant at the time who was a retired general named Curtis LeMay. And Curtis LeMay made the arrangements from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. We rode down to White Sands on a C-141 Starlifter, and when my rocket myself got there, we started prepping it for a launch. At the time that we launched, which was June 20th, 1971, a plane flew in the same day we did, and out stepped these men in black suits with mirror sunglasses, and they're DOD agents. And so DOD was interested in the operation, and they were alerted to it by the Air Force and probably the Congress and whoever else was funding the program. Among those men, there was some NASA officials there that I recognized. They instructed me to send a rocket down 656 miles northwest of there to a precise set of coordinates that they gave me. And I asked them, why are we landing in a dry lake bed in Nevada? And they said, just drop it there. And I said, I can do that. So we fired the rocket, and it was a really success as far as engines go. It was extremely fast. It was so fast you couldn't even see it leave. It's like, you ever try to watch a rifle bullet leave a barrel? That's how fast this engine was. So we landed we were exactly where they wanted it. Then we had to get on a DC-9 from White Sands and leave for the dry lake bed, which is called Groom Lake in Nevada. And I was asking them, y'all notice that these wheels on your plane, they're rubber tires and landing gears, we're going to bore more up to our belly in the dirt out there. So they said, don't worry about it. So we got on the plane, and when we got there, they were right. There were twin 10,000-foot runways there and hangars and a 42,000-acre Air Force base called Groom Lake. and it wasn't on any of the maps I was working with at the time. So my rocket was down on the south end of the field at the end of the runways, and you could see the parachutes bellowing in the wind, and we landed and got out. And I was assuming we were going to go look at my rocket right then. No, we got in golf carts and rode to the center hangar, which was a very low, flat type hangar, but extremely large inside, about size of about 4 football fields. So we pull in there and stop in these little golf carts, and we're just sitting there, and I'm going, well, that hangar's empty. I thought, this is interesting, you know. And then in a few minutes, little yellow and red lights came on flashing, and then out of the ground, or out of the floor, come these little rails with chains on them. And they came up around all the doorways, and then the entire floor dropped out from under us. It's an elevator. We went down about 20 stories, and what was interesting about this elevator is normally you have chains that drops these things. Huge worm screws were lowering the platform down, which allows it to carry extreme weight. When we got down there, there was a lot of various aircraft and workshops and offices and such that was off of the main bay, and then off the main bay were smaller but still rather large work bays. And in the work bays, we went down to one that had something sitting in one of the big workshops. So we went and they opened the doors, we went inside, and the room was lit up like if you ever seen a car sitting in a paint booth. You have horizontal lights running the whole length of the room, and they arc like a rainbow all the way over. The reason being, like in a paint booth, it casts no shadows. So if you're spraying a car, if you see a run and your shadow's hiding it, you'll put a run in the car. So this was the same reason. It's a good laboratory to do it that way. That means that it's casting no shadows, so whatever you're working on, you can see it without being interfering with the light. And that was the first thing that's different about the room. They pulled the big covers off this thing, and it was interesting. It's an engine that's about the size of a school bus. And this engine is pretty much a much larger version of the thing I built. It's also an electric magnetic fusion containment engine, but it is sophisticated and it is powerful. I would have to compare mine to it. Would be like I had a Model A and this thing was a Ferrari. I mean, it's just tremendous, powerful difference, but we both were of the same engine breed. And this one had been damaged right in the center of the core. In the type of configurations we build, we have dual particle accelerators that cause the fusion reaction. Right in that center of these accelerators is an area that I call the eye of the hurricane. And it's like an infinity pattern, figure 8, and right in the center, it's quiet there on a matter of conversion area. So then this particular engine, there was a hole there about 4 feet in diameter. And that was the first thing I noticed. They asked me to look at it and describe to them how I thought the thing functioned. And I asked them, you know, how come I'm telling you about your engine? And they said that the engine was recovered in a project they was working with, and they wasn't sure how everything functioned on it, and personnel that were available that work on that was not available anymore. And they said if I could just help them out a little bit. Well, being 17 years old at the time, they thought I didn't pick up on too many adult innuendos, but I guess I was born old. I knew exactly what they were doing. So I said, fine, you know, yeah, I'll be glad to help my country, you know. So we play along, and I asked them, can I walk up to it?
I don't know what to do. Where do I start?
I think I would have to call bullshit on every fucking bit of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I was like,
John Smith and his cousin Billy are heading to the town of Carmax to sell their old
functional fusion reactor.
Yeah, so
I think absolutely fucking not.
So yeah, the magnetic plasma fusion rocket.
That
I
still escapes us to this day. We can't do it.
Okay, so yeah, so that was yeah, that's the whole fusion reaction thing NASA and all of them have been working on.
Yeah. Well, everybody's been, all of physics has been trying to discover a way to make a fusion reactor.
Now, they have figured out how to do it. The problem is sustaining it right.
We can do it for very brief periods of time, but the real problem is, as yet, we can't manage to get, or I don't think we've ever managed to get more energy out than you put in. So it becomes virtually useless.
Yeah, so basically we know how to turn the switch on. We just don't know how to keep
Well, yeah, it's a it's a generator that uses more power than it produces. What good is that?
Okay, I get it now. Not doing anything. It's not yeah. It's what it can do is what we want, but it's not. Yeah,
Yeah,
it makes more
we're
sense.
just not there yet.
Yeah. And
And
then the
this goofball claiming he came up with something like that at the age of 17
the
is just,
yes,
God, give me a fucking break.
that was the next issue. That was actually the biggest issue I had. I I understand there are very smart 17. There's no doubt in my mind that there's probably someone capable of building a rocket and etc. Like I said, not to this advanced stage of magnetic plasma electric rocket. I kept saying electric. I'm not sure how that I didn't do it,
Yeah.
but the fact that he built one, was invited to White Sand. Now, hang on. So, hang on. So I even believe that a 17-year-old, let's just say a 17-year-old is able to build a rocket. This is normal. This is this guy. And it's damn good. And it may even have a component or an idea that they hadn't figured out for some odd, not real reason. And invited him to launch a rocket. I see that. No, okay. I can't even run down that path. But who, one, have DOD and quote unquote black suits show up at this, launch it. Him and a buddy, right? Him and a buddy launch the rocket, and then they give him coordinates to Area 51 for it to land. I don't even know where to start unpacking. Um, I don't think DOD in black suits would show up to this. I think a representative at best. I kind of feel like they wouldn't have even done that. How do you trust that every time I say this, I wrote it down, I have to look at it. A magnetic plasma fusion, in quotations, electric rocket. I would think that they wouldn't let you just fucking launch that shit off of Earth and then hope it's capable of reaching the destination they gave. That seems more like you've tested it. Now, can you aim it? And that's on a regular rocket. We're talking about something that the United States best of the best haven't even come up with. And they're like, fire it off. That's my biggest issue. I don't think that would ever, ever, ever have happened. I think at the very best, this is now me playing devil's advocate of it. A 17-year-old figures magnetic plasma fusion, in quotations, electric rocket. Let's just pretend he figures that shit out. And then he wants to launch it. So he goes through the acquired chains so he knows he doesn't get in trouble because remember, he's really smart. He then gets invited to White Sands. At best, I think the DOD in the black suits may show up at his house. And at that point, because he's called it a magnetic plasma fusion, in quotations, electric rocket. They're going to want to take that from him. And they're going to want to strap that thing in the building and test it before they unleash its power unknowingly. So that's problem. That's probably the biggest red flag for me. They would not have launched this random guy's rocket, random 17-year-old's rocket at White Sands with the understanding that this thing is a magnetic, this is a fusion reactor. I'm with you, Blue. I definitely call BS on this. Too much happens from we built this to I'm standing in a bunker at Area 51 to me to be legit. And I've heard a lot of ex Area 51 workers do the little testimony things, and there's just a lot of red flags the way the guy told his story about what's happening, what he saw there. I see, but here's the problem, Blue. He did work for NASA, so he is very, very smart. That's a gimme, and I'm pretty sure we could probably tie him. I don't know if we could. I don't know if there'd be reports of a 17-year-old launching rockets.
I won't say that that part can't be true. Only because myself and one of my buddies did build a rocket at about that age, and we did fly the thing up at the test range at the Marshall Space Flight Center because of the altitudes that we were anticipating that thing was going to get to. So it had to be done pretty carefully, and it took a lot of coordination with the officials up there to get permission. They were glad to give us permission to do it, but they wanted to see the damn rocket and everything about it, and we had to show them all the work we had done.
I have a quick question. So what we're talking about it's the same thing as a nuclear fusion, or is it not?
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. A fusion reaction.
Okay.
Nuclear fusion. We can't do it. We can't do that yet.
So
not in a way that you would get enough energy out of it. To get any energy out of it would be miraculous. They use lots and lots of energy to keep the reaction going. Yeah, we can sustain a fusion reaction, but at the cost of gobs of energy that you have to pour into it to do that.
So we're definitely nowhere near a stage where we would ever be putting them in a rocket.
Fuck no.
I'm looking at an article in 2020. It says a middle schooler becomes the youngest person ever to achieve fusion. And this is on the state of me trying to find an article from back then when this David Adair guy did it, because I'm pretty sure you would think it would be in the newspapers, right? But that's the biggest issue I'm finding. If let's just pretend he did come up with this, it definitely wouldn't be in newspapers. It would be hush hush. The problem is it's not hush hush because he talks about it. And then on the other, see, I don't know. I do find it very hard to believe that a 17 was able to build. Yeah, I can't. There's too much to unpack out of that for me to think that's possible. Now, like you said, everything, the rocket, invitation, White Sands, people that don't know, White Sands is not like just the average rocket testing facility. This is like where they test stuff that they don't want anyone to know they're doing. They have a clear area. They don't have to worry about civilians. They can aim it and wherever they want and not have to worry about what's in between them. This isn't like a regular place you would go to show military you're doing stuff. This is stuff where you go to show what I'll call them elite, right? Get an invitation to launch to something there at White Sands, big deal. I just can't, man. I was all gun ho about it, but 20 minutes into it, the research of this guy. I'm gonna actually try to see if I can get Daryl back on like some other time to talk about this because it's a big it's me about because like I said, when we talk about the advancement of technology and like the best example I can get now. I could put a fusion reaction engine in a rocket, say. They, or better yet, if they did, they wouldn't tell us they did it because they don't want, they don't want China to know it's possible. So many holes in that, but that would only be the only real why or how or if that I can come up with. But I can't really hold that down and say, yeah, that's exactly how it is. Kind of just seems like
The guy's a crackpot.
you think so. But how does that happen? How does someone, because he did work for NASA, like there's no question about that. I looked into that. Even NASA acknowledges his retirement, but what's another red flag is he clearly doesn't talk about this stuff until he had already retired from it. So you know what I mean? Do you see where the problem with that is? It's like one of those things where like was it a bitter leave? Is he thinking about what he can gain from saying these, or is
Oh,
he trying to tell the truth?
who knows what motivates people to do things, Sean? Who knows? It could be anything. I have no idea what motivates people to concoct these crazy ass stories, but that's a crazy ass story.
Yeah,
It just is. I mean,
yeah,
when my buddy and my buddy and I did it, we weren't trying to invent anything. We just wanted to fly a rocket. That's all.
yeah,
We wanted to see if we could build a rocket. Period. That was it. It's a little solid fuel rocket. And the guys up at Marshall said, "Sure, you can bring it up here. We let people do that, and we'll make everything, all the arrangements necessary with the FAA and all that. You know, and we'll have a launch time that you have to meet, and they'll keep all the airplanes away from us." Okay. So we did it. It's great. We had a great time. But this whole
now,
story about a C-141 showing up and flying them out to White
yeah,
Sands. God Almighty,
yeah,
what?
because like I said,
Number one,
if
if you've got some super duty technology nobody's ever fucking seen before, you think you're actually going to let it leave the launch pad and go flying off into God knows where?
wherever, yeah,
Hell no, you're not. You're going to strap it down on a goddamn test stand
yep,
and fire the thing and see what it does.
yeah,
That's how
exactly.
rockets are tested.
Yeah, I would think the second. This is how I think a real scenario would have actually played out. 17-year-old Bill, gotta go to my notes, builds a magnetic plasma fusion, in parentheses, electric rocket, and he wants to cause whatever, like you guys call that launch site, that, hey, we want to do this. So he does that. The second he says those words that I said, I would think they would go, what's your name? What's your address? Within 2 minutes, the DOD and those black suits he said were at the launch site, those guys really would have showed up at his house,
Yeah.
probably detained him because they want to make sure he didn't just report that he has a fusion bomb. Take it, interview him to figure out what's going on, strap it to something, and strap it to something once he's actually explained to him how it works, what it works, and then they've acknowledged that that makes sense and that it may be safe to try. And this is all months of time. His
Hell
story
yeah, it is.
is that he called. He didn't say next day that they told him to go do it. I give him that. But even the acknowledgement of it happening, the launch, and Area 51 seems to happen all like in a week. And that just seems so far fetched. It's
Oh, good God! Just go back and look at look at all the stuff that SpaceX goes through before they ever fly one of those rockets. How many times they have that thing bolted down to a test stand and run the engines that way? That's what you would do with a thing like that if you actually had it. They would have, and they believed it might actually do something. They would hook it up in a test cell and operate it and see what kind of thrust it produces, how long it produces the thrust. Does it survive doing that? Does something bad happen? You do all kinds of tests do before you ever commit to actually letting the thing launch. For God's sakes, nobody's that fucking crazy.
yeah,
I don't know what this
that's
guy did for NASA, but it doesn't sound like he did anything in the way of physics or science.
exactly. Yeah, it's just doesn't it. Yeah, across the board, it's too many red flags. Way too many.
Hmm?
Too many red flags with this guy. Too many. None of that whole beginning of how it happened doesn't make story, or doesn't make sense at all to me. Okay, so he was trying to find like there's something. He's definitely passed away. I may have to retract what I said before because I had seen things that said his NASA retirement, but now that I'm 6 pages deep in search, it's just all his stories. It's not official. So okay, I see. Okay, so this what I'm looking at now doesn't say it's not whether he worked there or not. It just says that he worked with NASA and NASA's propulsion laboratory. Not NASA's propulsion system sector. So maybe he was like a consultant.
Who knows? It's his
But that could
story.
be
He can tell it any way he wants to, I guess.
well,
It's just a
because
story.
he could have been a NASA. Here's the part that makes it weird. He could have worked for NASA's propulsion rocket propulsion laboratory or whatever, but he also could have been the guy that supplied bolts at the very least.
Yeah.
Because if you look
Well,
up,
NASA doesn't really have one of those that I know of. It's called the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. It's out in California. JPL's in uh, Canoga Park, I think.
yeah, okay, so he is looking at his it's actually says official bio. Um, he did projects for the U.S. government, but he was a civilian contractor.
Okay.
David Adair is a rocket scientist from America who has a very high knowledge about rocket science. One of the most talented scientists and has completed many projects for the United. Yeah, this is a bio after his. Okay, yeah, okay. Now we got problems. So this is his bio, basically. Um, that was written after his. Tell me if this sounds weird. He is known as a well refined rocket scientist. He has been a researcher in the past and has experimented. This enabled him to build an electromagnetic component plasma fusion rocket engine. The project was funded by the government. His high intelligence and talents gained him recognition of the previous Nazi rocket scientist Arthur Rudolph and had been good fortune of meeting his physicist Steve Hawkins. Here was asked to launch in White Sands, which directed him to be brought to. I, timeline seems to be flopping around for that. That seems more like he's a rocket scientist. Gets funded. He gets does projects for the government, and through those fundings, builds one of these rockets. Not he built a rock. Wait, fuck that, Blue. How much would it cost to build a fucking fusion rocket?
Who knows? More money than I got, that's for sure.
And a 17-year-old, supposed 17-year-old, built a fusion rocket to launch status. Okay. I'm over it. I will not be doing any more research.
It's bullshit.
That is, it is absolute. I didn't.
This guy's just a crackpot.
Yeah. What irritates me the most is that I entertained it and I didn't even think right off the bat, how the F does a 17-year-old build I'm sorry, a electromagnetic, because it's now better, electromagnetic plasma fusion rocket. How do you remember how much your rocket cost you and your friend did?
Oh, we didn't have a lot of money in it. Maybe $100 or something. It wasn't a lot of money. It was 1967 too, so.
Well, this
All the money
guy,
we could scrape up, but we got a lot of stuff for free.
well, he was 69 when he passed away, and he was 17.
When's he claim he did that?
I actually have not seen that he said he did it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look and see. Passed away. Backtrack. That'd be the only way. Okay, so he was 79 and he passed away this year. Born in 44. 7 1961 is when he said he did that.
Yeah, Groom Lake was there by then.
I think that was.
Yeah, I'm sure they were.
Ish. Groom Lake was 53.
Yeah, because they tested the U2 at Groom Lake. That was the first thing they ever tested at Groom Lake, I believe. and the U-2 was tested in 1956 or 7 or something like that.
Definitely know it was but it doesn't. It can't make sense. There's no way it can make.
No.
Let's give it to him. He's rich. His family's rich. Parents are stupid, and they give him all this money, right? Because any parent that lets a kid build a future rocket is crazy. So he has the money, so he's able to fund this. A technology. That's the other problem. If let's say I wanted to build a fusion rocket, would the components to that be possible to get back then?
No, not that no, I don't think you can't get them now.
Yeah,
As
see
far as
that.
I know. I mean,
So how would he have been able to get it? Even if he knew how to do it, how would he have been able to get it in 61?
yeah. I don't see a possibility. No possibility.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys what really happened. David Adair, at 17-year-old, builds a badass rocket. Not just any rocket, a badass rocket for and like college level, like maybe even better than college level, because they do all that shit. And it's impressive. So he goes out to whatever place that he was originally going to go do it, and maybe the military people caught wind of this badass rocket that a 17-year-old built. So they go out there and they watch him launch it, and it works to plan. It's actually able to hit a target, like its landing target, and they go, "Hey guys, we got a super genius. Hey kid, we want you to work for us at some point." So he starts consulting for rocket stuff to see if he's smart enough. Then they work on a project that he's told not to talk about. Then he decides, I'm going to work for these guys as a consultant. And I'm going to help them with their rocket because I'm really smart. Then something happens. He gets fired or he retires. He goes, my career is not done. I see Bob Lazar had a good living after that. I'm going to come up with something. This is now my story. I think that's what. I don't think he made a fusion, electromagnetic plasma fusion rocket. Launched it. It lands in Area 51, and then he is taken to Area 51 that day at 17. Look at an alien craft. If they want to see if he can figure out, because he's made the same type engine. All that sounds like a fucking movie. That's insane. I
Yep.
definitely, Daryl, if you're listening, and if you're not, I'll find you over at Discord or I'll DM me. But we're going to talk about this guy. I don't think this is here. I don't think this is possible. This even that the I just said his name, the Bob Lennar. You guys know what I'm talking about. The guy that did work at Area 50 was saying that he saw alien crafts and all that stuff. He at least has the credit of having it proven he did work at Area 51. Like he was definitely there. Like we know that for no if, ands, buts about it. So his story, you could say, is credible. Or I don't know if it's credible, but it's definitely holds weight. But this guy, everything I've found so far since we've been talking about it is he definitely did work with the government, as they put it. One of the articles said NASA, and then you said that NASA doesn't even have a propulsion lab; it's a jet
Well,
lab.
in those days they didn't. I think now it is a NASA jet.
Okay.
jet propulsion laboratory. It all got absorbed. But at one point, the JPL belonged to the Air Force, I think.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, when it was basically like a bunch of
well,
civilian contractors that did get contracts, and then a lot of them merged. Few of them just fell off. But that's when like
yeah, I think they've reorganized that thing so many times over the years. JPL's in Pasadena or Canoga Park or something. I don't know. They're out there somewhere.
I'm gonna try to get Daryl on, talk to him about it. Yeah, I'm not seeing enough that is credible enough to even put the guy anywhere near Area 51,
Yeah, me neither.
let alone how he got there in the first.
I know one thing for it's, I'd be pretty certain when I say that I strongly doubt they fly C-141s around to pick 17-year-olds up in.
Yeah,
Cessna
why?
150 maybe, but not a C-141 for God's sakes.
Ooh, what if they brought that plane in, take that rocket back there? That could be a reason to have that plane.
How big is the rocket?
I don't know, Blue. The really shitty part is that any of because there were a couple of news articles with the Dave guy, like a school kid builds rockets, not this one, but like
Mm,
just in general. So there's no actual picture of the rocket, which is very weird.
hmm.
Yeah, if I was a 17-year-old and I built a rocket like that, I'd take a picture when it's ready to go, like we're finished. Take a picture, draw a picture, something.
I got pictures of mine somewhere.
Yeah, see, you just gotta
But
find. It's
mine's
like
about
that's like on like scribed on a rock, right?
man, mine's about 6 feet long. It's about 2 inches in diameter.
Now, see, I don't even like that rocket. Like how there's so many questions to like the rock, like the size rocket you just said that you and your friend did.
Hmm.
Like that's too small for what he's talking about. No matter what.
Oh, I would, yeah, by a factor of 100,000 or something.
Like, and there's too many. Like this kid. Like let's pretend he did go out to build this, and he was able to achieve fusion power. um, did he do this in his backyard? Because let's you don't go from I'm building a fusion rocket and then go from I built it to I'm launching it at White Sands.
Well, if you're actually able to come up with a fusion reactor that will sustain the reaction and produce any usable amount of actual power, your first thought is probably not going to be, I know, let's put it in a fucking rocket and shoot it. No, I don't think so. I think what I would do with it is think about how I could use that to generate electricity, how I could use that to make lots of money generating electricity and selling it to everybody. The guy down the street doesn't want to buy a rocket that he can shoot. He, he just wants his refrigerator to run. That's all. Nothing about that story makes any damn sense.
At all.
No.
And I'm kind of upset now. I was really hoping that it was something.
Yeah, I don't. Uh, you can always hope, but I've got a bad feeling that there's not much to that.
Yeah, I didn't happen. But I am gonna. I want to talk to Daryl about it. he seems pretty adamant about it. I do know. I don't know if a lot of people remember. He does have a nice UFO story of himself. For himself. Surprised he didn't talk about it. Yeah, that one is too far fetched. But here's the problem, Blue. Here's the big problem I have. Um, you know what skunk work is. Skunk works is it's
Sure.
basically
Lockheed Martin.
yep, they basically work on. They're the ones who advance technology in fighter jet, try to push the limits.
Kelly Johnson.
They're yeah. Oh, damn. That's the guy I was wanting to talk about. He's the guy. Well, he's the same guy. And correct me if I'm wrong. He's the guy that um was talking about the plans for jets doing like Mach 8 and shit. Same guy. We're talking about the same.
No, probably. Kelly got into all kinds of shit.
Yeah, he's
Kelly,
one of their.
Kelly Johnson is renowned for all the hot, fancy things he came up with, including the U-2, which was one of his fighter jet designs, the F-104, which
Yes.
he took the wings off of and put big, long, floppy, gigantic wings on it and made the U-2 spy plane, and followed that up with the SR-71.
Okay, so we are definitely talking about the same guy. I remember did a like it wasn't a TED talk, something like that though, and I know he had retired, and he was talking about them trying to build something that could do the Mach 5 pluses that we're talking about now. I think specifically it was 15,000 miles an hour in our atmosphere for a craft. Um, he wasn't saying they did it. It was a plan, an idea that they were trying to achieve. And this was had to have been 30 years ago at this point that happened. 30 years ago that happened. That I saw that, or that's when it happened. The little upload was recorded. Um, I think they probably have jets doing things that the F-35 is, and that's when I start realizing that there the conversation about how advanced is it can't stop at what we know is there. It doesn't it couldn't make sense. Like I would say we know for a fact they are doing fusion reactor testing currently.
All
I
over the
would think
world.
yeah, I would think where they've told us they're able to get to, they could probably get further with it. I don't know enough about it to say where or how, like what steps, but I truly feel that when we hear about it, they're already working past that part. That's just what they're willing. Like maybe they have strapped one of these engines to something to see if it was possible outside of a lab. I don't think they tell us. I definitely don't think they tell us if it worked and our military sector wanted it. Because if they want it, then it absolutely sticks until decided. Is that possible? Because I definitely I know we've had these kind of conversations about certain aspects of physics and different scientists finding out or not finding out. And I think if I remember correctly, you've even said that if one scientist figures out something that no other physicists know, it's only a matter of time till someone else figures it out because they're all researching.
Yep.
So keeping a fusion reactor that works legitimately a secret would only last so long.
Not very long.
Yeah, because the
First
last
thing guys,
report.
first thing that guys that work on stuff like that, the first thing they want to do is publish. The very first
Yeah,
thing they want to do is write scientific papers about it, show it to everybody.
yeah, because they want Lockheed Martin to put $10 billion into it, right?
Well, yeah, again, nobody's looking at, to my knowledge, nobody's seriously looking at fusion reaction, a sustained fusion reaction as a method of powering a rocket. That's not the idea. We'd like to have fusion reaction to replace fission reactors that generate all kind of radioactive mess and are really dangerous. We'd like to have a fusion reactor that could produce electric power and a very harmless byproduct, like helium.
So it's okay. I see exactly what you're saying. Putting fusion into a rocket before we putting it into for instance, our grid is just unheard of. It's ridiculous.
It makes
Doesn't
no
make
fucking
money.
sense. Why would you do that? I mean, no sense.
So that would be something. Well, putting it into the grid would be easier too, right? Like you're once you start putting things into smaller things like rockets, cars, then you have to look at the application completely different.
Yeah, you got all kinds of issues there.
That would make
No, I don't think anybody in their right mind is legitimately trying to figure out a way to use fusion to power a car or to power um, a rocket ship or to do something like that. The whole impetus for trying to come up with a fusion reactor is to be able to safely and cleanly generate electric energy.
Now, just for shits and giggles, a fusion rocket would mean interstellar travel possible. Mars, let's keep it real. Mars becomes possible.
Well, sure.
But yeah, okay.
I
I see the
suppose
problem.
it does.
It's too, yeah, it's weird. It's too. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. They would definitely, even as a secret. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because
We have
even
different kinds of propulsion systems now. We've got ion engines that are in use right now, but they don't produce a lot of thrust. They just produce it continuously.
yeah, I think I've heard the most effective one is solar sail. Like the most effective one. It takes
Well,
fucking.
that one's just using sunlight, but an ion engine just literally ionizes helium or hydrogen or so whatever molecule you pick, whatever gaseous molecule you pick, it just ionizes it and accelerates it. And you can make thrust that way, but you don't make a lot of thrust. The biggest of the ion engines, I think, only makes maybe a few pounds of thrust. But if you do a few pounds of thrust constantly, 24 hours a day, over the span of a few months, you pick up a hell of a lot of speed doing that.
And those don't take fuel.
Yeah, they're using fuel, but they use it very, very efficiently.
So that would be our advancement in rocket technology.
Yeah, it's something that it's been around for quite a while.
Yeah, but it would have been utilized way before fusion would be utilized. Obviously, like it would like if they could come up at the same time, they ion.
Yeah.
I don't know if, yeah, yeah, it doesn't make. Now I could see him being really smart. See, I'm trying to something make sense of it. I could see him being really smart. Like I believe he probably was really smart. Probably was a rocket scientist, smart dude. I just don't feel like builds it, tries to build it, and that's enough for them to be interested in him. And that's maybe where the story stops. That fucker did not launch a fucking rocket. Didn't. I know he didn't.
Shit,
I
no.
there's like I love conspiracy, but there's nothing in my brain, nothing at all that allows me to think that the government allowed a 17-year-old to launch a fusion rocket for the first time. For the first time. He did not test that engine in his garage. He did not. Where did he test it? That's find me a place. Find me a place where a 17-year-old, free the government knowing, test a fusion engine, and then we can talk.
Nobody ever did that.
Yeah, I would say that is impossible. You can't test. Like, I don't know what size this would be feasible at, but better yet, I would say the rocket you and your friend made would probably be the largest you would want to test at your house or could test. They didn't have graphite nylon straps in the 60s to hold a rocket in your backyard down. That did not happen. Game, I was so excited.
What you got there, kid? That's a fusion rocket. Really? All right. Well, let's see it work. Okay, boom. Hey, kid, where'd it go? Don't know. About 600 miles over that way somewhere. Huh?
Yeah, because there are definitely stories, like I know in New York that's happened, and probably a lot of other places, where kids that were super geniuses started building shit like nuclear generators or just nuclear stuff like that, and just the parts that they were buying triggered to put them on a list, and then the government would visit their house. We know that's happened. That's what I think would have happened. You don't buy a fusion rocket parts at Home Depot.
No. I checked Amazon a little while ago. They don't have any fusion engine.
And then, even better than that, there's not a place in the world that sells anything you need for a fusion rocket to a 17-year-old, unless, and this is the only caveat I'll get, unless he worked for a university at 7, right? Like had like someone to back why he needed this stuff, what he was doing with it. I call bullshit. Bullshit all around the board. He fucking bunked. Period. Daryl, if you're listening, man. Oh man. I was fucking A. I was so fucking amped for that. I thought it was gonna be the best one in a long. That's a shit.
Yeah, that was strange.
It was fun though. That was a fun 20 minutes.
He's got a cool story. I like his story.
I do like those stories. It's
Yeah, you can make that into a hell of a TV show.
okay. I have a question then. That Bob Lazar guy, how credible do you think he is with his story?
Oh, I've never paid any attention to that guy.
Because that one's a weird one. Because he absolutely, like, there is no conspiracy. He absolutely worked there.
Wait. Anamorphic Mind says I'm looking in the wrong place. They've got fusion rocket parts at Lowe's.
Ah, see, that's the home builder's store. That's what I didn't think about Lowe's. That's the problem. Stupid me. I think I'm gonna go to Lowe's in a little bit. Actually, I don't want to say that because if I say that, I may get put on the list, and then they'll have me launch it at White Sands. But nope. Yeah. Oh, so good. It was a story. Damn it, Daryl. I'd like to do a stream on the Bob Lazar guy. I I personally think there is some credibility in it. he worked there. But knowing you work somewhere where like everything's a secret, you get to make up anything. No one can fact check them.
That's true. Oh, it comes with they all come with built-in excuses. All right. It's all a big
And
conspiracy anyway. So,
yeah, and I have learned that, and this is one thing I could credit Flat Earth to. I have learned that someone who is completely full of shit is capable of sounding completely sane, logical, and knowledgeable while not being at the same time. Because that was, like I said, that was the first red flag blue that I caught on that David Adair guy, was the fact that the way he told his story seemed credible, but the stuff he was saying wasn't. Didn't make sense. I was so ready for it. Great. That's what I like doing. I do enjoy finding a good conspiracy and then debunking it. I don't have to think about it anymore. But I do want to do like a Bob Lazar thing because that does have more credibility. And if, and in my opinion, UFOs being advanced technology based on, our military wise, not aliens, um, I could see the things Bob Lazar talks about being that, but saying aliens rather than saying it's our technology. And then the worst part of it is, guys aren't around anymore. Can't even fucking hope for an interview or realization of stuff. Everything's told on their death. Everything's told after the fact. That sucks. Yeah, aliens. I don't think they're, or I don't think aliens come. That's my conclusion to what we. But I'm getting hungry, Blue.
they damn
And
sure aren't coming here just to hang out over Phoenix for a while.
yeah, okay, I'm not done yet. I think that to me seems more credit for advanced technology because the the way military reacts to these things are, to me, are the big things you look at. When that happened, bases didn't get shut down, cities didn't get shut down. You would think that the second that thing was seen, the government would have issued a lockdown. That's a big fucking deal.
Oh,
And
yeah, it is.
because that was because the reason why this one's a good example is because it's not like all the other I saw UFO stories, you know, blurry, grainy picture, or I was on a date with my missus in the back of our truck and it popped down above us. It's not one of those stories. This is a situation where millions of people saw it.
Yeah, yeah. There was something there. The
Hmm?
question is, what was there?
Yeah, and I'm sorry if aliens come to the Earth and they fly above a city,
It
the
ain't gonna be
government's
good
gonna
news.
yeah, the government's gonna tell everyone to stay indoors, and that didn't happen. And remember, it lasted. I think it was about 4.5 hours.
It went on for a while.
I think that was advanced technology. It wasn't another country because I 100% believe the second the United States sees anything that's not United States, they're gonna the way they dip their finger in the water to test it if it's hot or not is they usually send a couple of missiles at it. um, I think they knew what it was. I think because there were a few military helicopters towards the end, but to me that's just escort. They weren't even like Apaches. They were like the transport type ones. And then all the military has to do is just not admit to it. That's my opinion of it. That's why the whole Pentagon UFO files thing came out. I think it's one of those things where it's like uh, they're getting too close to understanding that it's our technology. We have to give them something else. Because again, if in my opinion, 100%, if our military, our government knew there were aliens visiting Earth, I don't think they would have said anything at all. Government isn't in the habit of telling us everything so we can be prepared for it. They like to try to be prepared for it. Then when they feel that they have prepared enough and adequately enough, then they tell us about it. What is up, Sean? How you doing, sir? It's been a long time.
Doing all right. Just out here working and listening for the most part. How you doing
Nice.
today, gentlemen?
Good.
Doing good.
Definitely happy to be back online. Yes, it's
Yeah. It's been like 84 years.
feels like it. Definitely feels like it. And then once all my stuff stops breaking, I don't know what happened earlier. That was crazy. Brand new fucking house, brand new. I've never been lived in before, and my power surged. Hates me. And here's the worst part: it only surged in my room and where the internet box is. Crazy. But yeah, it's. I think it's advanced
What do
technology.
you got hooked up in there?
Huh? Say again.
What do you got hooked up in there?
In the room, just only my computer stuff. So the computer tower, 3 monitors, and they're not even on the same outlet. And then my internet box in another room completely on another line. Weird, very weird. And my conspiratorial brain will go, I was talking about advanced military stuff. Yeah. But I wish you would have came a little earlier, but I'm actually gonna take off. I'm actually getting pretty hungry and I've been on for a couple hours now. Um Today is Thursday. I will be live tomorrow for sure, 100%. It'll be there. Excuse me. It'll be the earlier one, uh, around the same time I started this, or the first one, or the beginning before it crashed. Um, and I think I want to talk about UFOs more. It's a good conversation. What happens?
So what you're saying is like about 11 o'clock or something like that Eastern time?
Yeah, about 11 Eastern. Maybe a little bit earlier, maybe a 15, 20 after that. But yeah, that's going to be this. I like this time. I like it when it's a little bit earlier. Better than waiting around because
Yeah.
it's noon here right now, and 4 hours going on like at 1:30. And I feel like that's just late. Everyone's already tired. Don't want to listen. So we'll do it early again tomorrow. Um, Definitely do some UFO talk. There's other stuff I wanted to talk about today, but kind of got wrapped up in the UFO stuff when Daryl came in and brought up the David Adair guy because that was fun. Um, Maybe some Bob Lazar. I don't know. I want to start. I got to do some more researching in this. Now that I got my computer up and running, I can actually start researching things. Cause before I was on a crappy ass Chromebook or my cell phone. I hate looking at my cell phone. So we'll do that. I'll probably research all that stuff today. Go over that tomorrow. Maybe some other topic I'll figure out to talk about when it comes to like flat Earth and stuff because it's a fun topic to talk about sometimes. And other than that, got Blue, you wanted to promote anything? You got any uploads? Doing that?
No, I don't have. I haven't done any in a while now.
Yeah.
Need to get back to it, I guess.
Yes. God, you got anything going to find you want to end up with?
No, I've mostly just been working for the most part with the all the new infrastructure going in. It's just been a madhouse down here. Everybody and their brothers like installing something.
Well, that's good for you, right?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I have to deal with a lot of new faces coming into the underground business. So these people don't know the rules or anything, and it's like playing cowboys and Indians out here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've done many years of underground. I know exactly what the fuck you're talking about. They like to dig first, ask questions later.
Yeah, yeah. Well, how was I supposed to know this line was in the ground?
Probably not
It,
digging six
well,
feet at a time.
yeah. Here's a real quick story. Down in Fort Lauderdale, they had a 36-inch force main hit. Um, and I met up with the contractor about 3 weeks later on another job, and he asked me about it, and I was like, well, I don't really have that much information. And he's like, well, this is what happened. So he went through the explanation that there were two force mains down there, two 36-inch force mains in the area, and one company marked one, and the other company showed up, saw the marks on the ground, and drove away. So and he drilled right through it.
Wow. Yep,
Yeah,
that must have been fun.
yeah, yeah. And it was all over the news and everything. And I was like, oh man, I'm glad my name wasn't associated with that.
Drop my mic on everybody. Second, I apologize. As I fix this. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna take off now because now my dogs are barking and I'm barking for. John, thank you for showing up, man. It's been a long, long, long time being here,
I appreciate it. I appreciate you getting back on here. We had a lot of fun the last few times we were on and everything. It's a good time.
Yep.
Glad to hear
Blue,
you.
absolutely. Blue, thank you for showing up, man. I absolutely appreciate it. Come in a little bit more, and I'm gonna. What I want to do. I haven't done this. I don't know why I haven't. I gotta message Barney. I'm gonna get him back on here. Probably listening right now. Didn't show up. Oh, I know why. He doesn't do it very often. So I'm gonna message him, see if I can get him on too. Conversation with Barney's always having everyone back in here. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and deafen and mute myself out of here. Say my final rant. But I do appreciate you guys coming in.
Yeah, see you later, Sean.
All right, people. That was fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the second half even more, mostly when we started going into that David Adair guy. I think I may start doing kind of stuff like that where we hear about something and just kind of go into the research aspect of it as we go. Again, thank you, Blue. Thank you, Sean. Daryl, thank you. Come on in anytime, man. Definitely want to talk about that David Adair guy and see maybe if you want to go down the same path in Blue did with about it. Personally, I think kind of how the system you guys kind of watched me go through with that David Adair guy. And I'm only pointing this out so you guys get more of an understanding of where I'm coming from. That's kind of how I take all these conspiracy theories that I hear about or interested in. I do want to break it down to kind of figure out where the legitimacy of it is, the reality of it is, and then the obvious what's complete bullshit. There may be a lot of stuff that me and Blue missed as we were kind of fumbling through it. And by no means did it be really great. And I didn't do great research in it to get like 100% of all the facts. I can't do it all, especially because I'm on a live stream doing it on the fly. But I'll still look into it. No, actually, no, I'm not. I'm not going to look into that. That's just the David Adair guy seems legit. It just doesn't seem legit at all. But there's the other things like that I want to look into. David Lazar, just a lot of different theories that I've come across over time. And we'll kind of start brushing through them. That'll be a fun part of. I'll do like the first part open panel, then I'll have the second half be like the open panel, trying to figure out if it's BS or not. That'd be fun to do. We'll try that out. You guys want to hit me up, chat, anything like that? I usually, most of the time, I'm over at the ummmmm server, this little mass media server. The link is down in the chat. Come check that out. I will get you verified. Or usually, if you have, that's what it was. If you have any debates want to do, and you just can't find someone that will host it for you, my boy Demon Stride, he hosts debates over there at Medicinal Mass, or I think he uses StreamYard sometimes. But the platform where you guys can debate, get good moderation, and it not need to be the Witsit and Professor Dave fiascos that we keep. It'll be fun, and I know he does all topics under the sun. I think we're trying to set up a debate between one of the members at the ummmmm, who is a Satanist. Not what you guys think. Not believe devil, worship the devil. And then there's someone who wants to debate her and on beliefs. So stuff like that we're going to be setting up. So look out for that over at the YouTube. I know he'll post that stuff there, or like I said, just join the server and hang out. So I sent you and pass through. Other than that, there's nothing else I can think of that I want to get out there. Yeah, if you guys have any ideas for things, throw them in the chat, email me, DM me in Discord. Again, if you really want to find me right away, I'm over at Discord. Join the bunker. That's where I'm doing the panel from right now. That's where everyone was talking from. I didn't do that. My apologies. Wanted to turn the camera on. We were doing the panel from the Discord. That's probably where I'm gonna do most of the live stream panels from, unless you want to do a presentation. Which, if you want to do a presentation, I give you the floor for as long as you need, and that one I'll probably do on Google Meets because it's easier to share screen and not be interrupted at all. Other than that, I can't think of anything that I want. That is it. Thank you guys for showing up. Thanks for listening to me ramble and talk and BS for a little bit. I will definitely be on tomorrow, 9:45 Central, 9:30, 9:45. So they're at the same time this started. Topic will be probably the UFO stuff. Dave, the stories, or the call it the tip of my tongue. The stories that these people tell. For instance, we watched the David Adair guy tell his story. Kind of do something like that. So, with that being said, I'm done ranting. If I don't stop right this second, I continue. And you guys will get bored of it. So, thank you guys. I do appreciate it. Peace.
If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. And that simple statement is the key to science. It doesn't make a difference how beautiful your guess is. It doesn't make a difference how smart you are, who made the guess, or what his name is. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong.
Yeah, look, they said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a mission. mission. Go. Okay, let's get it. Got a little time on my hands like a wristwatch. I don't got time for the brakes and the pit stop. Race through the gridlock, take it like Chris Rock. Right to the chin, still win. Heavy metals like Slipknot. Got the driving, I got tunnel vision. I just hit my stride the way I run the business. I've been making paper like I'm Dunder Mifflin. See the end game, I got one division. Look, I don't ever bother with a critic. Hit him with a chronicle of Riddick. Boom, bottle full of Ritalin. I hit him with a little bit of riddle me this, riddle me that. My bad, fell asleep at the gas. No time to wait though. Elon Musk, I'm trying to bankroll. New Tesla just cause I say so. Electric whip like Ivan Vanko. I just did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a mission. Okay, let's get it.
I've been on a mission like totally spice. I'm bad, she bad, but she totally nice. Nails are blue and a toast like white. Te comprini met jou, dat is zo voor mijn lijf.
If you're seeing through this hole, through the next hole, and seeing the light at the backboard at 17 feet.